of the 2023 CFSE Marshall County Hoopfest. Our next game features Lumiere, Indiana.
Welcome to Nike EYBL Scholastic at the Marshall County Hoopfest on League Ready. We are live from Marshall County High School in Benton, Kentucky for high school hoops. Hi everybody, Dave Roughton along with Jeff Waters, and the Hoopfest is now in its 23rd year annually, and a couple of games that you'll want to watch in this tournament, one of which is included here tonight as the Lakers of La Lumiere take on the Warriors of Oak Hill Academy. These are a couple of Nike EYBL Scholastic teams, to be more precise, as we take a look at the starting lineups. First for La Lumiere, they'll run Jerry Easter at one guard, along with Darius Adams, Ace Buckner, and Jalen Harrelson. Four guards in that tandem of rotation there. Steven Solano, the center that you can't miss. He stands 7 feet tall. For Oak Hill, they'll run a two-guard with a wing and two forwards, headed by Christian Anderson Jr., Caden Magwood, which is a Kentucky product, by the way. Micah Robinson on the wing, DeAndre Lindsay at the forward, and Francis Chuck Woodabello at forward tonight. Chuck Woodabello coming in at 6'10". So we do have a good matchup tonight of big players, good matchup of speed, quickness. This really ought to be a good game to watch. And speaking of players to watch, Jeff Waters, a couple of good ones here.
Yeah, you've got Jalen Harrelson, who is number 10 in his class. He's in the junior class of 2025. Undecided, all kinds of offers, all kinds of major college offers. Then you have Michael Robinson from Oak Hill Academy. He's a senior, 6'6", number 73 in the ESPN Top 100. He's made his college decision. He's going to play at Texas Christian University. So those are two of the guys, but one of many that will be watching tonight that will all be moving on and playing at the next level, and several of whom will play on at the level beyond that.
One of the things that sets this Hoopfest apart from many other tournaments is the quality of basketball that is brought to the court. Not only do you have good local teams, some really great local teams within the Western Kentucky area and Southern Illinois, Northwest Tennessee, but you get teams from all over the nation. We'll be talking more about that as we go along in the broadcast. And here we go, La Lumiere dressed out in the dark uniforms, Oak Hill Academy dressed out in the white with red trim.
Kind of a trapping zone defense by Oak Hill to get started.
Adams out of the corner. He misfires, and Oak Hill Academy grabs the rebound, and he will go the other way with it. Ironically, Oak Hill, in their starting numerical rotation, the starting five are listed as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And speaking of number 5, that's Robinson, who takes it in, and he's fouled.
An announcer's dream, right? A starting lineup of the jersey numbers 1 through 5.
And in all the years that I have done this, I don't know that I have ever seen a starting rotation listed as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I like it.
Absolutely.
I wish more teams did it.
Absolutely. A good look there at Robinson. Robinson, a 6'7" senior. And we have our first point of the game. Lots of games in this Hoopfest. Had a full day of action yesterday, have a full action today. We're right in the middle of it, and we'll have another full day coming up tomorrow here at Reed Condor Gymnasium on the campus of Marshall County High School in Benton, Kentucky. And if you're not familiar with Benton, Kentucky, we'll tell you a little more about that and what goes on around here in this quiet little western Kentucky town as the game goes on. 1-0 the early lead for Oak Hill. Adams for La Lumiere with a running 10-footer that won't go, and Oak Hill off with the rebound, and they throw it away. National rankings for these two teams, La Lumiere comes in ranked at number 8. Oak Hill ranked at number 25. And when you talk about when the conversation turns to teams nationally, that they don't play a local schedule. These teams travel. They play the best of the best. Oak Hill is definitely always in that conversation. They've not had the same success in recent years that they had early on, but still ranked at number 25 this year.
Yeah, and they, as Jeremy and I talked about on the telecast last night, they're always a crowd favorite. They were such a mainstay in the Hoopfest for the first 10 years of the Hoopfest. Dave, believe it or not, this is their first visit to this venue since 2013, so it's been a while, so a lot of people were excited to see Oak Hill back in this event.
Greg Buckner gets La Lumiere on the scoreboard with a 3 from the right wing. And Buckner is another name that you folks from Western Kentucky are probably scratching your heads and saying, where do I know that name? Well, his father, Greg Buckner. And now you're saying, okay, it rings a bell. Tell me more. So we will. Greg Buckner played for University Heights Academy back in the 90s, had great success there, and went on to play at Clemson, went on to play in the NBA, and is now an assistant coach with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So this kid comes from good stock.
And Ace is going to be a legacy player at Clemson because he has signed his letter of intent to play at Clemson University. And after watching him last night, he was really impressive in their win last night. And I know the folks down there at Clemson, South Carolina, be excited to have him come on board.
Got a good look a moment ago at head coach Pat Holmes, now in his 7th season at La Lumiere.
2-2-1 press by Oak Hill.
And we're tied at 3 here in the first 2 minutes. Both teams trying to establish a rhythm in their game. Buckner feeds it away for Easter, and Easter with a bank shot. And as we said, there are a number of games within this tournament that you really want to make a point to try and come and see. Probably 4 or 5 different games if you don't have a local team that's in this. And this is definitely one of those games. That'll be goaltending.
Solano guilty of the goaltend there. Robinson's going to get the bucket. Robinson's a 4-star recruit on ESPN.com. Positional rank number 18 in the 2024 class. Offers from Kansas, Kansas State, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, SMU, several others.
I was watching Solano in the warm-ups, and this kid is really agile for somebody who's 7 feet tall. He moves really well.
And you get a look at Darius Adams stroking that 3 off the wing. He has all kinds of offers too. Indiana, Kansas, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, St. John's, Washington, Syracuse. He's made some unofficial visits to Tennessee, Indiana, and Notre Dame already. And he is a member of the junior class.
Off with the rebound is Chuck Whittabello. And we practiced that name multiple times before we got on the broadcast tonight, just in all honesty. I mean, when you look at it and you look at how it's spelled, you've got about 14 different pronunciations that you can come up with. And the actual pronunciations is Chuck Whittabello, and I almost stumbled there over that again. From Plano, Texas.
This is what La Lumiere can do. They can do it to you in a hurry. We saw it last night in their win.
That was Harrelson, one of our players to watch for tonight, burning it from deep off the left side. A 6-point lead opened up by La Lumiere, and they have a steal here. Lead pass ahead to Adams, and he gets the easy bank shot. Oak Hill may be opting for a timeout if this continues.
A little surprised they didn't call one after that steal and that layup.
It's one thing to come out and watch really good local teams, but to be able to come in and see the caliber of players that this tournament draws, it's almost you almost look on in awe of some of the talent that's on the floor.
Well, speaking of that, you saw what Christian Anderson Jr. just did there. He had to double clutch on that 3 that he made because it was well defended.
Then there's Buckner on the drive.
Oak Hill gambling in that half-court trap, and if you don't recover, that's what it's going to lead to, open shots.
Robinson, open 3 off the left wing, not there, and the rebound and putback by Chuck Whittabello. Chuck Whittabello, a 6'10 junior out of Plano, Texas. Trims the lead down to 5 as La Lumiere works it in front court. That's Harrelson with it. Guarded closely away to Easter. Oak Hill changing up their defense, and this time it's Adams that misses as he slices the circle. Chance for Oak Hill to trim that lead. The feed to Robinson. They made him alter his shot, and that would have been really pretty if he could have made that one fall. They get it back. Robinson takes it down the lane, and a foul called before the shot. One thing I do like about the officials so far, they're letting these kids play.
Yeah, and that's usually what happens here at Hoopfest. This veteran group of officials on the floor, they're certainly going to do that here tonight. They'll call what needs to be called. if that makes sense. But so many of these guys are going to go on and play college basketball. Many of them will play at the major college level, and it's a man's game for sure. It is a physical game. And I said on the telecast earlier today in the noon game, that painted area with this type of talent and size and strength is no place for the timid.
Absolutely not. And we saw Robinson go back in. He was fouled once again. Instead of having to take the ball out, he was in the act, so they'll give him a couple of shots from the free throw line. Incidentally, speaking of Chuck Woodabello a moment ago, he checked out of the game, and coming in, they don't lose anything in size in the replacement as Jamie Vinson, 6'11 senior, comes in to replace him. When you're looking at the screen, he wears number 31. He's a little hard to replace, hard to miss, I should say.
Headed to Vanderbilt.
Right. He's going to be an SEC guy. Vanderbilt glad to have him.
And
has a 7'5 wingspan, as I understand it.
And Dave, you like me remember the Marshall County to Vanderbilt pipeline over the years. Marshall County has sent a lot of great players to Vanderbilt, going back to Jerry Hall back many years ago, and Bob Warren back in the 60s, who played many years in the ABA, and then in the 80s and 90s, Barry Goheen, Dan Hall, Aaron Beth, Dan Lange. It's been quite a pipeline from Marshall County to Vanderbilt over the years. Marshall County's been really good to Vanderbilt basketball over the years, and it's kind of fitting that you got a Vanderbilt signee on the floor out here at Marshall County High School.
Gives Oak Hill a little bit of a chance to have almost a mini timeout while they're waiting on this free throw to transpire. Lead at 4 now. Lumiere has led by as many as 6. Either one of these two teams can explode at any moment. And that's one of the fun things about coming to a tournament like this and watching teams that have quickness beyond what you're used to seeing at the local level. Here comes Anderson. In transition, Oak Hill looking to trim that lead. Anderson finds a seam, kicks it back outside, now in the corner. Shot won't go for Lindsay. And it's off to Lumiere. Little runner in the lane by Buckner. What a nice soft touch that gentleman has.
Yeah, we saw that several times last night. I was really, really struck by just how good he is, the decision-making. Reminds you a lot of his dad. I mean, his dad was just a great player. And young Mr. Buckner certainly is as well.
Off-balance shot, a fading jump shot from Magwood. And Magwood is a Kentucky product. And when I say Kentucky product, he's from the Louisville area. Transferred, I believe, from Western.
Yes, from Western High School. Been a big part of a great success that they've had the last couple of years at Western.
Half a minute to go in the opening quarter here in this game tonight. Harrelson on the drive, hangs, fires, nice move. Tough shot, but he got it to go.
Shot clock will be off here, Dave, for what should be the final possession of the first quarter for Oak Hill.
Anderson working against Buckner. Oak Hill being very patient. Anderson now hangs the three. Shot rattles in and out.
Lumiere's got
4
some
seconds.
time if they'll hurry.
From half court. And that one almost goes. Almost goes. So we've played one quarter here in this game tonight as watching Harrelson on the replay. Nice move, tough shot. Puts it up over Robinson. And again, he's one of our players to watch in this game tonight. And over the years, not only do you see quality basketball from the players on the floor, you never know who you're going to see in the crowd that comes to watch these players here. For example, last night, John Calipari was in attendance. A lot of people recognized him, probably came up to get autographs. You get to that status, you are a celebrity, is what it comes down to.
Carmelo Anthony, who played in the very first Marshall County Hoopfest back in December of 2001. Jeremy and I talked about it last night. Actually took his ACT to get ready for college. took his ACT here at Marshall County High School, and then went on the following season and helped lead Syracuse to a national championship. He was in attendance last night watching his son, who plays for Long Island Lutheran, and Steve Forbes. There you get a look at Steve Smith, legendary former head coach at Oak Hill Academy, 9-time national championship coach. Dave, as you well know, he's a Kentucky native, and his very first coaching job, going back well over 40 years ago, was at University Heights Academy. Spent one season at UHA, so that's another connection to this area. But Steve Smith has been here the last 2 nights enjoying basketball and watching the team that he coached for many, many years.
As we mentioned, University Heights Academy, and while we were talking about Ace Buckner earlier, that's where his dad played high school basketball. University Heights Academy, for those of you who aren't familiar with that school, it is in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, over there in Christian County. From Benton, as far as you would drive from Marshall County, it's probably about an hour drive, maybe a little bit less, and they were a predominant force in high school basketball over the years. They're not what they used to be, but they would invariably come up with kids who were 6'8", 6'10", 7 feet tall from places you never heard of. And a nice shot there. Wow. That's Magwood.
Yeah, it was Magwood, and I thought he played really well last night in Oak Hill's loss. And he has no fear. He pulled the trigger on that long jumper, pulled up on the dribble. Pretty shot, and it's a 1-point ball game.
Murray into the game now for La Lumiere as Easter on the drive. Tough shot, can't get it to fall. Rebound comes off to Oak Hill, and a chance to take the lead for the first time in a long time.
Magwood lost the handle on that one. He had beaten his man, but you get a look at this three, just pulled up on the dribble, and a guy closed out on him. Pretty good closeout. But Magwood, that good high release, and able to put it in.
Probably won't leave him that up wide open again. 21-20 our score. A great first half of action here at Reed Condor Gymnasium on the campus of Marshall County High School.
Quick hands.
Oak Hill with the steal. Yep. And the feed that goes ahead to Magwood, and Magwood with the easy deuce. And Oak Hill takes a 1-point lead. A little bit of a dry spell for La Lumiere. And Harrelson puts an end to that with a reverse layup.
Kind of lulled the defense to sleep there, hesitated a little bit. They backed off along the baseline. He snuck underneath there with a reverse layup.
Long jumper that goes off the top of the backboard, I should say, and out of bounds. It'll come the way of La Lumiere. La Lumiere out of LaPorte, Indiana. And Oak Hill Academy calls Mouth of Wilson, Virginia, home. And if you're asking me, where are those places, Dave? I don't rightly know. One's in Indiana and one is in Virginia.
And I can pick out those two places on the map. So I could help a little bit.
Solano gets fouled before the shot. And Solano again, number 44, he's hard to miss at 7 feet tall. Solano coming out to set the screen. Now Adams on the drive. Tough shot, lays it up, won't fall. Harrelson the rebound and the putback.
Harrelson using that left hand there.
Lead back to 3. Anderson bounces away to Chuck Woodabello. And now Magwood will back it out. Now finds a seam. Off ballad shot. Can't get it to fall, and La Lumiere with the rebound. Harrelson had an open three, but decided to take it into the rack, and he gets the easy deuce, and the lead back to 5.
That can happen quickly, and I think Oak Hill is going to go ahead and call a timeout here. They kind of weathered the storm when they got down by 8 earlier and thought that they might call a timeout. They elected not to and actually rallied and took the lead, but I think at this point that they've decided to go ahead, and Coach Stoneman is going to say, let's see if we can slow this down just a little bit, maybe get reorganized.
You are watching Nike EYBL Scholastic, brought to you by Nike, only basketball. Also brought to you by Chipotle, real ingredients, real flavors, Chipotle, for real. Thanks to Nike and Chipotle for their sponsorship of this telecast. Live from the Marshall County Hoopfest in Marshall County, Kentucky. Benton is the county seat of this county that has so much rich history, and it would take all weekend to even just get started on all the things that Marshall County is famous for. But one of the most famous things, I guess I should say, Jeff, is that basketball has been king in this county for a long time. Football has kind of gone up and down over the years, but basketball is the sport that predominantly everybody gets behind here. They take a lot of pride in their basketball program, and the girls' program back in '82 was the last team to go undefeated and win a state championship in Kentucky. And prior to that
was actually '84.
Was it '84? Okay,
and
I stand corrected.
Marion County did it a few years ago in girls basketball.
Okay, and then
but it stood for over 30 years.
And then years ago,
Brewers, 1948, undefeated state champ. Actually, voted national champions that year as well. Brewers High School. From here in Marshall County, before obviously consolidation, but they are the last undefeated boys state championship team from Kentucky, 36-0 that season, and a team that occupies a special place in the history of Kentucky high school hoops.
Goes back 75 years as Solano rips down the rebound for La Lumiere. Here come the Lakers. They trail by 5. That's Easter missing on the layup, and Oak Hill comes off with the rebound, and a traveling violation on Chuck Woodabello as he took the pass. So La Lumiere will put it back in play with a 5-point lead. And about a little more than 4 minutes to go here in the first half.
You look at Harrelson there, one of our players to watch tonight. He's been fun to watch for sure. Five-star recruit is Harrelson.
And a steal by Oak Hill. Nice hands.
And get a reach in on.
That's Love. That's Chuck Love the third that now into the game for La Lumiere. And as you look down the roster of both of these teams, you might want to make some notes and then compare that here in a few years to see just who does what. But many of these kids, if they haven't already committed to a major college, have many offers on the table from many major colleges. Some of these kids probably will even wind up in the NBA. Inbounds play for Oak Hill. That's Robinson weaving in and out of traffic, and they'll set up the offense.
Magwood got a short breather. They don't keep him on the bench long.
Magwood again with a three that misses everything. May have been deflected, and the officials are saying it was deflected, and so this will stay with Oak Hill.
Magwood was pleading his case for a foul there. He thought he got slapped on the hand as well, or on the wrist on the shot attempt. We'll stay with Oak Hill.
Chuck Woodabello in the corner with it. Oak Hill being patient on offense. They've had a couple of small leads in this game.
They didn't see the shot clock. Shot clock did not reset on that deflected shot. So Oak Hill wasn't aware of the shot. I think Coach Stoneman is saying that it should have gone back to 20 seconds.
And he's still arguing his case. And I don't think that's going to work. They may be more wary of it next time, but won't change anything this time, I don't think.
Into the game for Oak Hill, number 1,
Christian Anderson returns to the Oak Hill lineup. He'll give Lindsay a bit of a breather. Meanwhile, La Lumiere trying to trim into that, or advance that lead, I should say. Adams takes the inbounds play from about 25, lets it go, and that's nothing but rope. Adams, a 6'5 junior out of Manchester, New Jersey.
Wow.
That's $1 million move. Magwood with an acrobatic show on that layup. Meanwhile, Harrelson missing on the drive and a foul called. Another look at that look underneath. Wow. Michael Jordan used to make those moves pretty routinely.
With the right English on it, as they say. Spin it up and in off the glass.
Harrelson at the free throw line, a 6'6 junior out of Fishers, Indiana. Number 11 in the ESPN 60. As far as the class of 2025 goes, the positional rank on that young man is number 3. And believe it or not, he is undeclared with his college choice. He's had offers from about 12 different schools, including Auburn, Florida State, Indiana, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, Michigan State, Missouri, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Purdue, Duke, Arizona State. And that's not the end of the list. They don't have enough room on this sheet to list all of them. Can you imagine to make that choice?
I wonder how many texts and emails, and I don't know if they send letters or not anymore. I'm not sure exactly. I think a lot of it's done electronically, but I wonder how many correspondences these kids get on a regular basis from colleges all across the country.
Well, pause in the action. Somebody lost a ball on the floor. That better not be my boy down there. He loves to play ball, but not here, Junior. Seven-point advantage for Lumiere. Again, they are ranked 8th nationally. Oak Hill ranked at number 25. Anderson cut off on the dribble. Low post pass into Vinson. Vincent backing in, will kick it back out. Jump shot by Chuck Whittabello, not there. And Lindsay with the rebound and the putback. Here's a three on the way that goes around and out. Fight for the rebound, grabbed out of there, and finally comes over the way to Easter. He makes a nice move, spinning to the back, bucket rather, and not making it fall. And again, watching on TV, a lot of times the cameras do not do justice to how quick these kids are.
You're right. When you see it in person, you just appreciate the athleticism, the quickness, the strength.
Basically, you can't blink when watching these kids. Magwood will bring it into front court. 5-point advantage for the Lakers. It's Magwood on the drive, shot rejected, and the rebound and put back by Chuck Whittabello.
Oak Hill hanging in there well in this game, Dave. They've been able to withstand a couple of flurries, and there's another big three by Adams. Push the lead out to 6.
Last two shots by Adams, I don't think he's hit the rim. Nothing but nylon as we go under a minute to play in the first half. A 6-point advantage for the Lakers. Oak Hill hanging in there from the corner. Shot won't go, and the rebound pulled out of there by Chuck Whittabello, and he's fouled. Lindsay collects his first foul of the game.
Oak Hill Academy going to grab a timeout with 49 seconds remaining in the first half. 6-point lead for Lumiere. Oak Hill ball when we return to action. They'll be sitting down with his full timeout to get some instructions from Coach Stoneman there.
Got a good look a moment ago at number 3, Magwood. And Magwood, a product of Kentucky. And we talk about the players from the Bluegrass State that make an impact in basketball. And Magwood, a junior this year, 6'3", 170, a 4-star on ESPN.com. The positional rank for that young man in 2025, and when he graduates, is 17. And he's another one that's not declared his college choice. has a number of offers. Coastal Carolina, Southeast Missouri State, WKU, better known as Western Kentucky University, also Kentucky State. So a lot of his offers come from within the state, maybe some of the smaller conferences, but they've got some bigger offers in there too, from Penn State, Alabama, Mississippi State, Illinois, George Mason. Plenty of interest in him. Inbounds play intended for Anderson, couldn't pull it in, and it goes the way of the Lakers. You're watching La Lumiere and Oak Hill on this presentation with EYBL Scholastic. Glad to have you along as we enter the closing seconds of the first half. That's Easter, who made a nice move a few minutes ago, speaking of acrobatics. Plenty of time to get one off as Harrelson slices the lane, does a 360, and forces the shot. Chuck Guadavello pulls it down, and here come the Warriors. Lead pass over to Lindsey. And Lindsey fouled as he takes it up. That leaves 16 seconds on the first half clock. Lindsey's a 6'8" power forward. He's a junior out of Knoxville, Tennessee. In the class of 2025 positional rank, he is number 27. Another undeclared on the college choice. Who's interested in him? Georgetown, Georgia Tech, Ole Miss, Penn State, SMU, Tennessee. So there's a better than 50-50 chance we'll likely see him in the SEC in a couple of years. Closing seconds, La Lumiere breaks the pressure to get it into front court. Adams lost the handle on it, needs to get rid of it. Down to 4 seconds. He may just put it up, and he does. And it misfires. Well, an entertaining first half to say the least. Lots of size, lots of quickness, lots of great basketball on this floor tonight as we go to halftime. Watching a three out of the corner from Harrelson there, one of his several tonight. Now Buckner, beautiful move behind the back dribble, and the tap in. And La Lumiere with a lead at the break, 34-30 over the Warriors of Oak Hill. You are watching high school basketball from the Marshall County Hoopfest on League Ready, better known as Nike EYBL Scholastic. Halftime of tonight's game between La Lumiere and Oak Hill Academy in the Marshall County Hoopfest here on League Ready. We thank you for watching this Nike EYBL Scholastic. And first half statistics, 34-30 as far as points goes. La Lumiere has led by as many as 8 in this contest so far. Oak Hill has had a lead a couple of different times, but nothing to really write home about. Field goal percentage, 47% for La Lumiere, Oak Hill with 44%, and three-point percentage, that's one thing that really stands out, Jeff. La Lumiere lighting it up from long range, and Oak Hill struggling a little bit.
Yeah, and La Lumiere can do that. We saw that last night, seeing it a little bit again tonight. Good free throw shooting, Oak Hill able to make up some of the difference there from the stripe.
Well, our player to watch tonight in the Chipotle Player Spotlight, Micah Robinson, a wing player there for Oak Hill Academy. Robinson, a 6'6", 210-pound small forward out of Kansas City, Missouri.
He likes that chicken burrito, his favorite offering from Chipotle. I think he's the first one to go with the actual burrito. The other guys that we've seen so far like the chicken or the steak bowls.
Well, regardless of, whatever type of burrito he likes, I bet you can't eat just one. If I can borrow a phrase from an old marketing campaign from many years ago. We start the second half of play, and La Lumiere turns it over. Adams took an extra step.
Chance for Oak Hill here to get started off on the right foot.
Oak Hill can cut into this lead. Again, they have had a couple of small leads early in this game, but as Chuck Woodabello turns and fires, and Solano had a hand on the rebound. It was knocked out of bounds. I really wanted to see if we could have a matchup between Solano and Chuck Woodabello. Solano has about 2 inches on him. And again, the TV does not do these guys justice. When you see them standing down there, they may not look that big, but trust me, they are. Chuck Woodabello goes 6'10", Solano at 7 foot. Inbounds floater pulled in by Anderson. And they'll set up the offense with 15 on the shot clock. Rebound knocked around out of there. Lindsay had a hand on it. Here comes Easter. Easter has a notion from three-point range, lets it go, and it won't fall. Oak Hill quickly back the other way. And one thing that really impresses me about these teams, Jeff, is how quickly they can get up and down the floor in transition.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. They get the ball off the rim. They're out running. And just half a second, the ball is already across the line, and they're looking to attack the basket.
Ball knocked loose in the backcourt. Solano wasn't quite ready for the quick pass from Adams.
Well, Oak Hill's had a couple of opportunities here. We're still stuck on the same halftime score. Oak Hill's had a chance to get even closer. Haven't been able to do it yet.
90 seconds gone in the third quarter, still 34-30, La Lumiere. And Adams says, I'll see if I can change that, but he can't do it. Three ball goes around and out, and Chuck Woodabello claims the rebound. Gives it up to Magwood. Magwood, nice move, and lays it up with the right hand off the left side. Oak Hill looking to make a run if they can get the fuse lit on the offense. Adams takes it around Anderson. Into the corner for Harrelson, who had 12 points in the first half. Harrelson with a spin move on Lindsay. And a foul. Another look at that nice move by Magwood. Magwood just exploded to the bucket. Nobody was there, and he says, I'm taking this to the rack, fellas.
Yeah, he gets to the rim so well, and he can finish well. And you saw Solano knew that had he come over, there wasn't much chance of getting to that. And you certainly didn't want to commit the foul on the much smaller guy and then give him an opportunity to get three.
Magwood in the first half led all scoring with 13 points, 5 of 9 total field goals. That included 4 of 6 overall and 1 of 3 from beyond the arc. Perfect from the free throw line in 2 attempts. And again, he led all scoring, the only player for Oak Hill in double figures. 2 players with double digits for La Lumiere, Jalen Harrelson, one of our players to watch, had 12. Darius Adams with 11. Ball nearly lost out of bounds, and quick hands by Harrelson knocks it out of bounds. So it'll be Lindsay to put it in play. .5:33 to go in the third period. Still a 3-point advantage.
10 on the shot clock.
Anderson bumped by Buckner. Interesting that Buckner likes to go by Ace. That's what they call him. He's really Greg Buckner Jr.
Yeah.
But to get the differential between his dad, he goes by Ace, and he'll see a little bench time for the moment.
Bet he's not there long. He is such a good player, such a complete player. What I've seen, watching him now twice here in the Hoopfest.
Anderson finding a seam and racing to the rack, and we've got a 1-point game. La Lumiere by 1 with 5:17 to go in the third. Harrelson bumping on Chuck Woodabello.
Solano calling for it, and he's got it.
Solano turns and lost the handle on it. May have been fouled. I think Chuck Woodabello got him. Another look at it. That's a good matchup between Solano and Chuck Woodabello. They're both within 2 inches of being the same height, but Solano is a lot more solid than Chuck Woodabello. Nice soft touch on the free throw for Solano, his first point of the game. Saw a little more than 9.5 minutes in the first half, but wasn't able to notch the scoring column. Now he does. And extends the lead back to 3. .37-34 as Oak Hill Academy looks to trim or tie. Robinson on the drive. Nice move.
Got the shoulder in front, got downhill, snuck it in up off the glass.
Got the step on Easter. Easter couldn't catch up to him, and now Easter's pass deflected out of bounds.
Melvin Bell returning to the lineup for La Lumiere. You see the drive to get Oak Hill to within 1.
Adams on the drive. Shot blocked by Magwood. Magwood had a hand on it, and Magwood is thinking, no, I got all ball, but that's not the way the official saw it. First foul on Magwood. We've got a 1-point game, and previous game we had a 3-point game and had a 3-shot foul to close the game and a chance for the other team to possibly send it to overtime. But they would have had to hit, there was literally no time left on the clock. So you had to hit all 3 free throws. And when the first one was missed, they called the game. Said that's it. One of 2 from the free throw line. So the lead is at 2. Oak Hill looking to tie and possibly take their first lead since the first half. Robinson. Kicks it over to Harris. Harris misfires on the 3 ball. Adams, nice move in the circle. Jump pass. I'm not sure he even knew who that was going to, but he just threw it because he was getting ready to travel. Easter. And his shot is rejected. Vincent swatted it out of there. That was after he had been fouled. Vincent, number 31, and you'll see in the lineup now, he's a 6'11 senior.
Talked about him back in the first half, headed to Vanderbilt. And the coach at Vanderbilt, of course, is an Oak Hill alum, Jerry Stackhouse.
Yep.
We saw Steve Smith on the monitor earlier, the former Oak Hill head coach, one of many players who played for Steve Smith in the Oak Hill program over his 3+ decades as the head coach there.
Magwood on the drive and a foul.
The foul is on number 10, Jalen Harrelson. That's his second.
Harrelson collects the foul for La Lumiere. That is his second. And for those of you that are not aware, there's an interesting change in basketball this year. And Jeff, you explained it in pretty good detail earlier about the number of fouls in each quarter. And, of course, that's in basketball where they do have quarters. I think the only people still playing halves are college basketball.
I think that's right, yeah. And there's a lot of people that advocate to move to the 10-minute quarters in college basketball. Of course, that's what they do play in the women's game in college.
Yeah, I was going to say we need to make sure we say that's in men's college basketball. Women's college basketball, they do play quarters.
And the new free throw rule is the same rule that they have in the women's game. The new free throw rule nationwide on the high school level with the 5-foul limit per quarter. Once you get to 5, the other team starts shooting the double bonus, and it resets itself at the beginning of the next quarter.
So essentially the old 1+ situation doesn't exist anymore.
It's gone. No more 1-and-1.
Jumper out of the quarter. Magwood got it. And Oak Hill has their first lead since the first half.
Just get the sense, Dave, that this one is going to go right down to the wire. Adams hanging in the air and scooping that one up and in. Nice finger roll by Adams.
Yeah. He's got a little hang time to him, doesn't he? Meanwhile, that's Anderson off the right side, burning the ropes from long range. Lead for Oak Hill at 2. La Lumiere off the baseline. Adams gets a lot of iron. Shot won't fall. Saves it from going out of bounds, but he evidently had stepped on the inline, so it'll come the way of La Lumiere. Make that Oak Hill basketball. Coming back into the Oak Hill lineup will be Lindsay.
Yeah, we said Buckner wouldn't be out for La Lumiere very long, and he wasn't. He's going to be back into the ball game. But before that, timeout. Get a look at that last three-pointer there for Oak Hill Academy that has given them a 2-point lead here with 2:57 to play in this third quarter here at the Marshall County Hoopfest.
Well, you know, La Lumiere coming in with a ranking of number 8, Oak Hill at number 25, and this is that next level that we can talk about, because when you get to the top 25 of anything, the 25 is capable of beating 8 on any given night, whether it's college football, college basketball, pro football, pro basketball, you know, whatever the rankings are, there's on any given night. And I think that's what strikes fear into the hearts of a lot of coaches. They know what they've got if they've got a top-ranked team, but you don't come out and you don't do it on the playing surface, you're going to get beat.
I think we have a discussion of something going on. I'm not sure if have the wrong basketball. We've seen this happen a couple of times, Dave. We're in that end zone. The ball gets under the
draping.
Curtain, yeah. And they've had to go retrieve the basketball. And I don't know if it just happens and nobody notices it until play gets ready to start again, but we've seen it more than once already, and that's what happened in that situation.
Oak Hill nursing a 2-point lead with under 3 minutes to go in the third quarter on this Nike EYBL Scholastic event at the Marshall County Hoopfest on League Ready. We thank you for watching tonight. And again, it's not quite as entertaining probably on television as it is in person, because these kids are even quicker in person.
I want to see the replay of that one when we get a chance, because he shot that for the angle from behind the backboard. Just a tough shot.
I thought it was going to go off the side of the backboard.
Yeah.
4-point lead for Oak Hill, their biggest of the game. Adams, cut off, kicks it back out. Buckner misfires on the 3 ball, gets his own rebound, leaves it for Harrelson. Harrelson with a spin move, back to Buckner. Three if it goes. Yes, sir.
Ace Butler, 3-point shot.
Buckner with a three out of the corner. Buckner had 7 points in the first half. Now into double figures. Benson gives it up to Lindsay. Now Magwood will direct the offense. 7 on the shot clock. And somebody's going to have to launch that thing. They didn't know how much time was left.
They'll give a lot of credit to Lumiere's defense there, really forcing them to play well away from the basket on that possession. And Oak Hill just could not get into any type of rhythm on that trip down the floor there.
There's that shot a moment ago that you wanted to see again, and we did. And again, Magwood was not only off balance, he shot from behind the backboard. It looked like it was going to go off the side of the backboard, but he found the bottom. While Lumiere trying to retake the lead. Adams on the drive, shot is blocked, get it. He got a hand on it, but couldn't bring it down, and it goes out of bounds to Oak Hill. Marshall County Hoopfest at Marshall County High School in Benton, Kentucky, now in its 23rd year. A lot of big names have played in this tournament over the years. Usually see a lot of top coaches come down and check out any potential talent they'd like to recruit.
Robinson tried to get to the baseline, cut off, and then he
stepped out of bounds.
And less than a minute to go in this quarter. While Lumiere could kind of do the 2-for-1, Dave, if they get the shot up and make Oak Hill take a shot before the end of the third quarter. Lumiere might be able to get 2-for-1 out here on the possessions toward the end of the first half, and I think that's what's going to happen.
That's Easter on the drive. And Lumiere goes back up by 1. Closing seconds of the third quarter.
And you got about 6.5 seconds difference, shot clock to game clock. So
Vincent.
Lumiere, well, that's a pretty move, wasn't it?
Yep.
That left-handed hook.
Vincent with a baby hook. And Oak Hill retakes the lead. We had 3 lead changes in the first half. We've had 3 or 4 here in the second half. Closing seconds. Easter had it stripped. Oak Hill with a chance. Robinson. Long-range jumper won't go, and the third quarter is in the books. A little flurry of activity to close the third quarter, and Oak Hill will take a 1-point lead into the fourth quarter, leading 48-47.
Well, buckle up. I think it's going to be a fun fourth quarter.
Well, Nike EYBL Scholastic is brought to you by Nike. Only basketball. It's also brought to you by Chipotle. Real ingredients, real flavors. Chipotle is for real. Our thanks to Nike and Chipotle for their sponsorship of this presentation of EYBL Scholastic. Some of the highlights there from the third quarter, and especially Magwood. This guy, he has such a quick step, and he finds that seam. If he gets you off balance, it's hard to catch up to him. Robinson much the same way. And are you noticing a trend here that Oak Hill is getting a lot more inside shots in the third quarter? They will take it from the outside, but I've seen several where they have found a hole in that Lumiere defense, and they just drive to the rack and put it in.
And that may be something that they stressed at halftime. Coach Stoneman wanted his team to be maybe a little more aggressive, trying to get to the rim, trying to score around the basket. And so far it's worked out for them. But you look at the numbers for Magwood there, 22 points, 4 rebounds, 8 of 13 overall from the field, 50% from behind the arc, has an assist to go along with that.
And the thing about Magwood, he's not by far the biggest player on the floor. He's got good size, but he doesn't have huge size. But that goes along with his position. 6'3", a shooting guard, 170. And again on the positional rank for the class of 2025, ranked number 17.
They're going to get an opportunity for 3 free throws here, Dave, as Lumiere called on the foul on the three-point shot attempt. So you're going to have Christian Anderson Jr. at the line shooting 3 times.
Don't see that as often as you would think in basketball. Anderson, a pretty good free throw shooter, as we get a look there at Love. Chuck Love the third. Anderson 2 out of 2 thus far. He'll see if he can make it 3 out of 3.
Solano returns to the Lumiere lineup.
And it's 3 for 3 for Anderson. Chris Anderson Jr. extends the Oak Hill lead back to 4.
He's headed to Michigan to play his college basketball.
Easter from the corner. Got it.
Jerry Easter, 3-point shot.
Anderson cut off at the baseline. Lindsay will give it up to Magwood. We're down to 14 on the shot clock. Magwood lost the handle on it. Might have had it stripped. It goes out of bounds. It will stay with Oak Hill. Biggest lead by either team in this game has been 8. Anderson with a nice fake. Leaves the three-pointer short. Hits the end zone out of bounds line. It'll go the way of the Lakers. Both schools very small in attendance. Oak Hill Academy, I believe, has 190. Lumiere with 150. I may have that reversed, but both well under 200. Harrelson on the drive. And a foul. That's the way University Heights was here in Western Kentucky many years ago. I mean, some of the times I don't think they had 100 kids in that school. But by golly, every one of them that they had could play basketball.
Yeah, competing regularly for a state championship.
Which had to be a source of frustration for other teams down there in the second region.
Oh, of course it was, yeah.
Everybody playing for second place.
And in fact did win the state championship in 1992. Defeated Lexington Catholic in the state championship game.
We are tied once again at 51 with 6:49 to go in the game. Both teams shooting well from the free throw line. Haven't been there a lot tonight. Both teams fairly successful. Lakers go back up by 1. Magwood double team now. Gets out of it, makes a bad pass. Buckner on the steal, and he'll go into for the slam. From the corner, it's Vincent launching a 3. Lakers trying to get a run together. The feed to Solano, had it knocked out of bounds from behind. It'll stay with the Lakers. Another look at the slam.
The ball is under the drapes again. Might want to
put some chicken wire down there. I know they got chicken wire around here. We're in Marshall County.
Put a young man or a young lady down there with the job of making sure the ball doesn't get lost in the end zone.
Solano fouled as he takes it up. Foul will go on Vincent. Jamie Vincent, 6'11" senior. As Solano goes back to the free throw line. Has a nice soft touch for a big man. Usually if there's one point in a big man's game that is usually suspect, it usually comes at the free throw line. And Solano has not shown that despite missing that one. Lakers with a 4-point lead. We're in the fourth quarter. Multiple lead changes as Magwood goes in for a stuff of his own.
And a quick timeout for UHA. There we get a look at it again.
And he just took it around Adams. And again, there's that quick first step that we talked about. He is so explosive off the dribble. And a little emotion there from Magwood. Transferred from Louisville Western to Oak Hill Academy. And he's just a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed watching him the last 2 nights. I had not seen him play and heard about him, of course. There's Coach Steve Smith, former longtime head coach at Oak Hill Academy. Had heard a lot about Caden Magwood, but had not seen him play in person as of yet. So enjoying getting the opportunity to watch him. He's really put on a show, and he's a big reason why Oak Hill's very much in this ball game with a chance to pull an upset here tonight.
Magwood is a 4-star on ESPN.com, rated 17th in position on the class of 2025. When he was at Western in Louisville, he got a lot of playing time as a freshman, averaged 13.7 points per game as a freshman. Approaching the 6-minute mark. Now the Lakers nursing a 2-point advantage on this Friday night in Graftonville, Kentucky. Marshall County Hoopfest. Harrelson dribbled it off the leg of Lindsey. And they will stay with Lumiere. Lumiere came into existence 1963. Local executive in that area had the property, decided to open the school. Solano misses. And he goes out of bounds to Oak Hill.
Adams coming to shadow Magwood in the backcourt, forcing to expend a little more energy, bringing the ball up the floor.
Magwood stripped of the ball as he crosses the lane. Inbounds play comes to Magwood. Magwood would give it up to Robinson. Robinson taking Buckner one-on-one. Buckner fouled him before the shot attempt. Team second here in the fourth quarter. Ace Buckner commits his 4th foul. He'll see a little playing time, or bench time, I should say. Vincent gets the inbounds pass, and it's Magwood working one-on-one with Adams. Magwood trying to get that quick first step, hangs it off the glass. Won't go, but Vincent is there for the rebound and putback. Tied at 55 with 5 minutes to go. Easter, and he's fouled.
Results from yesterday for these teams, Dave. It was Lumiere defeating Orangeville Academy from out of Ontario, Canada, 70-39. Meanwhile, Oak Hill Academy lost to Long Island Lutheran last night here in the Hoopfest, 84-57. There's that guy again.
Magwood with the steal. Thought about the dunk, but probably didn't have the elevation that he wanted. Now makes the steal on the inbounds play, has his shot rejected, and a foul in the act. That'll be called on Chuck Love III.
He just doesn't give up, does he? Kind of guy you love to watch play. If you're an opposing team, you hate to see him on the other side. If you're a coach, you just absolutely love what he does for your team. Well, that's just not giving up. He had a little bit of the indecisiveness of whether to lay it up or try to dunk it. Ended up missing the shot, but he just refused to give up on the play, and he's at the free throw line. Missed the first one, but chance to put Oak Hill back in front if he can salvage the second one.
Magwood makes it 1 of 2, and Oak Hill goes back on top 56-55. Three fouls apiece for Oak Hill and La Lumiere. Now Oak Hill commits their fourth, and we are approaching the point where they will be in the automatic two-shot foul due to the new rule in basketball. And we'll watch Easter go to the free throw line. La Lumiere led 21-15 at the end of one. They led 34-30 at the break. And here with 4:32 left, can't say we've decided anything.
I know in talking to some of the folks that organized the Hoop Fest, they felt like this would be one of the more competitive games that we would have the entire event. And that has certainly come to pass here tonight.
56 apiece with 4:20 to go in the game. Magwood is put on a clinic tonight. He'll launch it from 25. Kaboom! And this boy's on fire. Solano underneath off the reverse, misses, gets his own rebound, has it stripped away, lost out of bounds as it goes under the drapes again. Wow, that's a pretty shot. Magwood's one of those players that, you know, when he gets in the zone, he's hard to stop. He's approaching 30 points.
I believe that three gave him 30, did it not? Maybe I'm wrong on that.
I don't have the updated stats in front of me.
La Lumiere grabs a timeout after getting that bucket to close within one, 59-58. And you're talking about it, Dave, as you mentioned, La Lumiere ranked number 8 in the nation right now. Oak Hill Academy, number 25. Top 25 matchup, as type of matchups you expect to see every year here at the Hoop Fest. This one certainly has not disappointed. And, you know, just as a guy that has loved Kentucky high school basketball his entire life, I enjoy watching Caden Magwood, a Kentucky guy, really kind of strut his stuff, so to speak, here.
Boy, he has done it.
Yeah.
He has done it tonight.
Coming back to his home state and putting on a show.
Oak Hill Academy out of Mouth of Wilson, Virginia. Looking to extend the lead. They have a 1-point advantage at 59-58. Magwood again gives it up to Anderson. Head fake on the three. Kicks it back out for Magwood. Let's see what he can do with it this time. Takes it around Easter all the way to the rack. Splits a double team, and he's fouled.
Yeah, once he gets that shoulder in front of you, you got to get that help defense, and he has such a good game of finishing at the rim that he's going to get to the line a bunch. And you see the way he got that shoulder, that quick first step, and then you're in scramble mode. Hope your help defense is there and hope you can do it without committing the foul, but they didn't there.
Magwood gets the free throw. As Chuck Love checks out for La Lumiere. Currently La Lumiere going with the tandem of Buckner, Easter, Adams, Solano, and Harrelson. Magwood extends the lead for Oak Hill. 3:40 to go. La Lumiere trying to conserve just a little bit of time every chance they get. Ball rolls all the way to midcourt before it's picked up there by Buckner. Buckner in the circle for Harrelson, out to Adams, 3 ball. We're tied at 61. He's got a nice soft touch too. He had 11 at the break. Probably one of the unheralded players by La Lumiere, but when you have so many great players on the same team, sometimes it's a little hard to stand out. Magwood, 3, got it. And that was from about 25 feet out. Wow. And you know what I said a moment ago about catching fire and getting in the zone? I mean, this kid, watch where he shoots this ball.
And Adams was right up on it. Just a very minimal amount of separation, but they didn't need much.
A thing of beauty. As I said, I don't have the official statistics in front of me, but that has to be well over 30 points for the night for Magwood. And I hope that he goes to a team that we like to follow. It's about all I can say. Basketball season just getting underway. At least in high school basketball. Professional basketball, college has been going on a little while, but getting into the meat of the season coming up. And the Hoopfest is always a good way to start the basketball experience every single year. We've done it for 23 years. Glad to have you along on this presentation of EYBL Scholastic, presented by Nike. We are at the Marshall County Hoopfest, and this is a presentation on League Ready. Getting back to play, and we've got a little more than 3 minutes to decide this one. As La Lumiere trailing by 3, with Buckner back and forth. Harrelson had an ocean, instead takes it in, hangs it off the glass, won't go. Solano had a hand on it, but it's ripped out of there, and it'll come the way of Oak Hill. Magwood looks up to check the clock. Hands off for Robinson. Adams has the unenviable task of keeping tabs on Magwood. Magwood getting away with a little bit of a push there. Adams getting a little close.
Down to 4 to shoot.
They've got to get rid of it. Anderson forces the 3 at short, and Adams off with the rebound and off and running. Solano, the rebound, put back, won't go. Magwood with the rebound for Oak Hill. In transition, he tries to float it down low to Lindsay. It's knocked away. Solano grabs a loose basketball, and here comes La Lumiere. Easter hands it over to Buckner, had an ocean on the 3. Steps to his left, gives it up to Easter. Easter on the drive, takes it around Robinson, lays it up, no, and Robinson caught with a foul.
Would have been 2 shots anyway, but that does mean La Lumiere will shoot 2 the rest of the way on each foul, whether it's a shooting foul or not.
Jerry Easter at the free throw line for La Lumiere. A chance to cut into the lead with the clock stopped. 1:53 to go. And as we said, we thought this will be a good one, and we figured there are a handful of games when you come to a tournament like this every year that you definitely want to make a point to see if you possibly can. And this was one of the ones on that menu. And so far it has lived up to all the hype. Easter makes it 1 out of 2 and a 2-point advantage for Oak Hill as they bring it across the timeline with $1:47 to go. Now Chuck Woodipaloo back in the game for Oak Hill on the drive. Magwood misses. And he'll be caught with the foul. Offensive foul on Magwood. Second foul on Magwood. Being a player control foul, that will give it up to La Lumiere. They'll bring it the length of the floor with 1:30 left is when they cross the timeline. Easter against the double team. Puts on the brakes and puts it up and in. Tied at 64 with $1:19 to go. Magwood meets Adams at half court. I got to think that Adams' defensive plan is to make sure he just doesn't get the ball. And Chuck Wadebolo is fouled. And Harrelson not happy with that call. Has to chuckle about it. It'll be 2 fouls for Chuck Wadebolo. Also a nice soft touch for a big man. Gives a 1-point advantage for Oak Hill. We've got 63 seconds to go. And just like the previous game, this one should go down to the wire. .55 seconds for Buckner. Buckner gives it up for Easter against a double team. Backs out. He'll hang a 3. Got it. And the lead back to La Lumiere. And we have a timeout called with 43 seconds to go.
I think they may end up putting a little more time back up on the clock, Dave, because Coach Holmes from La Lumiere was asking for a timeout as soon as that shot was made. Yeah, they're going to put not quite 5 seconds back up on the clock to go to 48.3 now.
And a 1-point lead for La Lumiere with 43 seconds to go, and it's Magwood. They'll bring it across the timeline, greeted there by Adams. Magwood back and forth. Shot clock at 16. Wow. Chuck Wadebolo gets the shot and the foul. Watch this. Hung in the air, put it up and in over Solano. First foul on Solano. And Chuck Wadebolo at the line. Misfires, and it's a 1-point Oak Hill advantage. La Lumiere with the ball. We've got 25 seconds to go. Who do you like here to get the ball?
Well, you got Adams.
Buckner.
Yeah, Buckner would be a guy, but Easter's the guy that just hit the big shot a minute ago.
Easter misses. Loose ball hits the floor. A foul called as Harrelson comes up a little lame.
He rolled his ankle on that play.
Magwood collects the foul as we watch it again. Easter misses. Harrelson went to the floor, and he comes up immediately in pain. And he misses on the first. Just under 10 seconds to play, and the best he can do on this is tie, which should give Oak Hill the last shot. .6 seconds left. We are tied at 68. And a timeout called. Well, do you like Magwood getting this one, or do you think that's what La Lumiere is expecting Oak Hill to do?
Well, if I were in that huddle, I'd be saying look out for Caden Magwood. But the thing is, you know, they just haven't had much success stopping him so far tonight. The last thing you want to do now with both teams shooting a double bonus is put him at the line. You know, there's that shot from kind of behind the backboard that he made earlier here in this half.
Think about Magwood. If he's not racing to the rack to put it in, he'll shoot it from 8 feet out. He'll shoot from 15. He'll shoot from 22. He'll move in and dunk it on you if you give him a lane. And as I mentioned a moment ago, I do not have official statistics in front of me. I know he has well north of 30 points in this game. As you watch the three-pointer there from about 24 feet out.
And he's a guy that wants the ball in his hands in these moments.
Yeah, he's the one that thrives on this type of spotlight, this type of pressure. As we look at his numbers there, 33 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. That's not a bad night.
That's a good week for a lot of guys.
Well, they'll have to bring it 94 feet, or the length of the floor, I guess I should say. Not 94 in high school basketball, but they'll bring it the length of the floor, and they come into Magwood. Magwood lost the handle on it, had it stolen. Lumiere makes a ill-advised shot from beyond half court, and really they didn't have to do that. They had time to move across half court and at least get a decent shot. And it looked like Magwood just never really got his balance when he got that ball across half court.
Well, they got a 30-second timeout. So you're at 1.7, and you're back trying to bring it the length of the floor again. So a young man there just wasn't aware of the fact that he did have a little more time than what he thought, and rushed that one a little bit. So Oak Hill now out of timeouts. See what you can get with 1.7 trying to come the length of the floor.
Well, Kentucky fans know that can be done.
Don't remind me.
I'm just saying that it can be done.
It was actually 2.1, but
not a whole lot of difference there.
Yeah.
So Oak Hill will bring it the length of the floor in 1.7 seconds. They'll give it to Magwood. He'll simply launch it and had decent range on it. He just was off the mark, and we'll go to overtime. We tied at 68, Oak Hill and Lumiere. Oak Hill rated number 25, and Lumiere rated at number 8. And Jeff, if you didn't have a late enough night tonight already, it's just been extended a little bit. Locally, Mr. Waters here does play-by-play on Marshall County games. Got a game that was slated to start at 10 o'clock tonight, and I don't think that's going to happen. And you've got to be back here in the morning.
Yeah.
You've got more action coming up tomorrow. And again, this is the 23rd annual Hoopfest here at Marshall County. Not only the best in local basketball being showcased, but also some of the best teams nationally that like to come in and exhibit the talent that they have. And always a good way to get the season started. 3 long months before we get into the district and regional tournaments here locally. Both teams trying to get their game plans ready for the first 4 minutes of overtime. And I say first 4 minutes of overtime. I know a lot of people are hoping that it's the only 4 minutes of overtime. Now, Caden Magwood, what a game this young man has had. 33 points thus far tonight. You have to wonder if can he continue to put on this kind of show all season long?
I don't dare doubt him.
Solano will jump it up with Chuck Woodabelu. Oak Hill will get the first chance in overtime. And instead of Adams, it's Easter coming out to guard Magwood. Anderson cut off. Gives it up for Lindsay. Moves to the rack. Puts it up no. And a foul. Bell collects the foul for Lumiere. That is his second. So Anderson will go to the free throw line. We'll see what he can do here, if anything. First one goes around and out. Second free throw on the way. Makes it 1 out of 2. 69-68. Oak Hill nursing a 1-point advantage. While Lumiere trying to cut into that. Buckner head fake on the 3. Moves back out to Adams. Adams gets the screen, picked up quickly there by Chuck Witabelo. Over to Buckner. Buckner fadeaway 3. This one will be way off the mark. Easter with the rebound, the putback no. And the backside rebound and putback by Adams is good. 70-69. Oak Hill trying to find a way to get inside that defense.
We got a mismatch inside. Buckner got switched out. Now they get switched back. Couldn't get it into the post there. Had the mismatch there for a moment on the switch.
Long balance on the rim for Magwood. They flip it back out to him. Shoot it from the corner. Misfires again. And Solano pulls down the rebound for Lumiere. Lumiere with a 1-point lead. 2:25 to go. Acrobatic move by Easter, can't get it to fall. Solano gets it back and puts it up and in. Lumiere leading by 3.
Magwood taking his time here. Oak Hill want to value this possession, and we get a illegal screen there.
Watching Easter again, taking it in. Ball was knocked loose into the hands of Solano, and he simply put it up and in. Magwood back to the free throw line, see if he can add anything to that 33-point tally that he has. There's 34. Trying to pull Oak Hill to within 1. 35 points for Caden Magwood. Literally half of the Oak Hill 71. Easter lost the handle on it, had it knocked out of bounds. Magwood the last to touch it. It'll stay with Lumiere. Easter will pull the trigger. Easter tries to bounce into Solano. Foul goes on Chuck Witabelo. That is his 5th. So he'll leave the game. Vincent will come back to the lineup in his place. Solano's free throw misfires. Had a pretty good handle on that stroke earlier. Has now missed his last 2. This one is short.
Yeah.
Yep, left this one short. Oak Hill with the rebound. Look at the lineup that these two teams put on the floor. I think a lot of small colleges would love to have this lineup. Magwood weaving in and out of traffic. And a foul called.
Just really haven't been able to find anybody that can consistently stay in front of him. That's a lot easier said than done, obviously.
No doubt about that. Magwood going back to the line. He'll shoot 2. He's got 35 in the game tonight. He'll shoot 2. And a rare miss for Magwood. La Lumiere with Adams, Buckner, Bell, Easter, and Solano in the rotation. Magwood makes it 1 of 2, and we are tied at 72. And we have a timeout. See about how they want to set up every possession important. The biggest lead in this game has been 8. That's when La Lumiere led early, 13-5. Lead was 8. And ever since then, this has been like a championship boxing match. Both teams back and forth. Multiple lead changes. 3 in the first half. 6 or 7 alone in the second half. And showcasing a style of basketball you don't always have the luxury of seeing for high school. Now again, a lot of these players will be on their way to major colleges. Some have already committed. Some have yet to make their decision. Some probably don't have to make a decision anytime soon.
The Marshall County High School student section there in the O-Zone, as they call it. Enjoying the action of this very entertaining game between Oak Hill Academy and La Lumiere. It'll be a late night for everybody, you know.
No kidding. Oak Hill will send Robinson, Magwood, Vinson, Lindsay, and Anderson back to the floor for the final 127. Not sure what the discrepancy is at the scorers table.
They're bringing the coaches together, so I don't think it's a clock issue. I haven't seen anything.
I don't think it is either. Not sure what this is about.
They're still discussing it. Whatever the issue is, it's taking some time to figure it out.
Well, here we go. I think we've got things decided as far as that goes. Tied at 72 with $1:20 left. Buckner looking to get the screen, moves in against Vincent, tries to fire for Solano, knocked away. Oak Hill has it. Magwood once again one-on-one with Adams. It's a little bit of a screen and a little bit of a jump, drives in, foul as he makes the shot. I believe the foul will go on Bell. It is. That is his third. Looking there at the turnover, trying to get it into Solano. Magwood adds to his total, now 36 points. Make that 37. Magwood gives Oak Hill a 2-point cushion with 1 minute to play. We are in overtime of this evening's featured matchup between La Lumiere and Oak Hill Academy. Easter gives it up to Bell. Bell kicks it out for Buckner. 8 on the shot clock. Buckner had his pocket picked. Robinson in transition, drives in and has it knocked out of bounds by Adams as Robinson hits the deck. Adams called with the foul. Good thing Robinson wasn't going any faster where he actually ran into the bleachers there. He got close enough as it is.
Chance to make this a 2-possession game if he can get them both.
Gets one. With 33 seconds left, the best that Lumiere can do right now is tie. Making it a 2-possession game means Lumiere is going to have to work on pulling a rabbit out of the hat. There it is. 33 seconds left and another timeout called as we try to decide what offense Lumiere will run and what defense Oak Hill will put on the floor. Certainly glad to have you along on this Friday night here to start the month of December. Nike EYBL Scholastic at the Marshall County Hoopfest on League Ready. Brought to you by Nike, only basketball. Tonight's presentation also brought to you by Chipotle, real ingredients, real flavors. Chipotle, for real. Now, we are not done yet tonight. Now, while our broadcast will end, we think, shortly, there are more games to go on tonight, more games to go on tomorrow. "23 years we've been doing this. A lot of big names have come through this tournament. A lot of coaches, big-name coaches, show up every year to see some of the highlighted talent that put on the floor here at Reed Condor Gymnasium. Coach Beth Court, as it is now known. Adams, back and forth, finds a seam, lays it off the glass too hard. Rebound comes off to Oak Hill. They'll give it up to Magwood. Magwood fouled, and he'll go to the free throw line to see if he can add a little bit more. And that should pretty well do it. Got 19 seconds left in regulation. Magwood now with 38. Caden Magwood, this kid has put on a show tonight. He has shot it from just about everywhere inside half court. He's shot short range, mid-range, long range. He's dunked. I guess the only thing he's not done so far is drive the bus. 77-72, Oak Hill will win it.
Well,
as I say that, Jerry Easter says, maybe not so quick.
Hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on.
Now, all I can think of right now is how foolish I'm going to look as if Lumiere comes back and wins this thing. 10.4 seconds left, and Easter just stroked that one as pretty as you please. Top of the key, watch him again as he gets open. Steps back, pops it up there, and nothing but nylon on that attempt. And just when you thought Oak Hill was about to get out of town with a victory here, Lumiere says, not so fast. We are in overtime. 10.4 seconds left.
Scan of the good crowd here tonight. Still 2 more games on tonight's Hoopfest schedule. Our coverage on this side will end with this one, but basketball continues. Then a total of 8 games tomorrow in the Hoopfest, starting at 9 o'clock in the morning and continuing through the morning into the evening.
Now, I've got to think that if you're Oak Hill, you're going to put it into the hands of Magwood, if at all possible. Robinson will be the trigger man. Gives it into Magwood along the backcourt baseline. Fouled immediately by Adams. Couple of seconds tick off the clock. And that is 5 on Adams. Solano returns to the lineup for La Lumiere. Chuck Love the third also in there, along with Bell, Easter, and Buckner. Magwood going for 40. And a 2-possession lead. (79-75). 4-point advantage for Oak Hill. Easter from 25 lets it go, misfires on the shot. Rebound comes off to Vincent. And that will do it. It has been an entertaining game as we had to go to overtime to decide it, but Oak Hill comes out with a 79-75 victory over the Lakers of La Lumiere.
Enjoyed it, Dave.
That's going to do it for our broadcast tonight. Oak Hill Academy now at 8-1 on the season. La Lumiere at 6-1. And we want to say thank you for watching this presentation of the Marshall County Hoopfest. Nike EYBL Scholastic on League Ready. Our player of the game is Caden Magwood. By anybody's imagination why we would not choose him. 41 points officially tonight, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. This young man has really put on a show. So what a night for Caden Magwood. Once again, Oak Hill wins it in overtime, 79-75 over La Lumiere. For our entire crew here on League Ready, and for Jeff Waters, I'm Dave Rowden. We thank you for watching. Have yourself a good night and a good weekend.